Hey everyone, thought I'd show you what I've been working on today. I went ahead and made this fun fall themed card, and I actually painted the pumpkins that are on my card, and I wanted to show you how to paint a pumpkin because it's pretty simple, and I think a lot of people get a little nervous when they see something painted, and it looks really great and it's really easy to do, so you can kind of let people think you're a little bit more artsy than maybe you've been trained to be. So just for the record, I am a certified painting instructor since like 2005. So, but this is very simple and I think anyone can do this. So let's go ahead and get started. So I've got a foam plate here and I'm going to use two folk art paint colors. I have Autumn Leaves. This is zooming in for me here. Autumn Leaves, which is 920, and School Bus Yellow, which is 736. Now, if you want a brighter pumpkin, then you may want to pick up a 628, which is pure orange. But mine is actually empty because I have a son who loves the color orange. So whenever he comes in to paint and play, he uses up my orange. So I'm gonna have to pick some more up. But for this project, I actually like the darker orange. Kind of gives a more of a spicy feel. So I'm just gonna throw some onto my little palette here and leave a little bit of a space, and we'll go ahead and add a little bit of the School Bus Yellow. Oh, whoops, that came out fast. And then the fun thing about painting a pumpkin with a flat brush, this is just a wood brush made by PLAID. When you're in the store, you might, if you're down the paint aisle, you might see a package that looks like this, or you might see a 10-pack that has different size flat brushes in it. The fun thing about the flat brush is, if you use a small one, this is a number 6, like this one, it'll give you a smaller pumpkin, but if you decide that you want one a little bit bigger and you jump to a bigger brush, like this 3/4 inch brush, you're going to get a bigger pumpkin. So the bigger the brush, the wider the brush, the bigger the pumpkin. So you can kind of play around with it. And acrylic paint is great. I mean, you can paint right on paper. It's also fun on wood. But for today, we're just going to paint a quick pumpkin on some paper here. So I'm going to go ahead and load my brush, and I'm going to dip one corner into the orange and one corner into the yellow. And then I'm just going to come right here and I'm going to make myself a little blending spot, just straight back and forth. I'm going to dip my corner back into the orange, back into the yellow, and blend again. And I'm going to do this a couple of times to load some paint in my brush. And as I do that, I get paint all the way inside my bristles and not just on the outside. Pressing firmly at first loads the middle of the brush. So once I start to get kind of a creamy, buttery consistency, I know I have enough paint on my brush and I'm ready to paint. There's a lot of paint on my brush. So let's go ahead and slide this forward here, and we'll go ahead and paint a pumpkin. So to do this, we're going to do what's called a C stroke. So I'm going to make the stroke first just so you can see what it looks like. And all I'm going to do is start here on my left with my orange facing my left, and I'm going to push, come down, and slide over. And it looks just like a C, right? So when I step away from the screen here, I'm just grabbing a little more paint, dipping back into the orange, dipping back into the yellow, and grabbing more. So now I notice down here I have a little bit of a white space, and that's okay. We can just go ahead and go right back over it and clean it up. So that's my C stroke. So now to decide how big our pumpkin's going to be, I'm just going to flip my brush over here so that my orange is on the right. And I'm going to do the same stroke, just backwards. So this is something you can just sit at your kitchen table and practice. The main thing that makes your pumpkin successful is going to be this next stroke. And it's making sure that I have plenty of yellow on my brush. So if you'll see here on my left, you can see that streak of yellow. Now you don't want to cover that up. You want to come just to the side of it and stroke my next stroke, because seeing that yellow is what gives us a highlight. Grabbing more paint, and we'll do our other side. And then the middle, we're going to do kind of a U stroke. So let me grab let's just do it. So I'm going to start kind of at an angle here, push down, turn my brush slightly, and come straight back up. And there's our pumpkin. And it's fat and it's chunky and it looks real. So let's do it again, but this time I'm actually going to change my shape just a little bit. I'm going to do a tall pumpkin. So if I want it to be tall, hopefully I'm focusing okay here. It looks kind of fuzzy. I'm going to start up here. Again, I'm going to make that same stroke. Remember, there's paint on both sides of our brush. So if we find that we have a little space, we can grab more paint. So here we're making a nice tall pumpkin. And I'm not overlapping next to the next one, but you certainly could. In fact, on my project, you'll notice I did overlap just a little bit. And again, making sure that we leave some of that yellow showing. Just a few minutes at your table and you'll have this down. It's really not difficult. And then let's do our center stroke, which is kind of making a U shape. Coming down, coming straight back up. And look at all those great streaks in there. And again, it's chunky, it's not perfect, and I think that's a good thing. Now I'm not going to bother with the stem or leaves today since on my card I didn't do that. But I thought, why don't we go ahead and paint one more just so that we can show it again. And we'll make a really kind of a small one down here, a little bit more rounded. So we'll come, oops, I've got my yellow on the outside, whoops. It's okay. Get a little bit more paint on my brush here with that orange on the outside. And again, don't be afraid to go over if you don't like what you see. Grabbing a little more paint. And this time I'm actually going to come over and just overlap next to this one here, just so you can see that you can. It's perfectly fine. Grabbing more paint. I still kind of feel like the yellow's not really standing out here. So I'm going to grab just some yellow on my brush and stroke this stroke one more time. And that'll kind of help bring that yellow out just a little bit more. And then it's still just not showing up, is it? Let's try again. There we go, that's brighter. And then we'll stroke our next stroke next to it. And one more next to this one. And it looks like it's finished, but I still kind of like to finish it off in the center. I feel like it really gives it a finished look. I'm going to stroke over this one again. And then an angle and come straight back up. And there we go. 3 different sized pumpkins. They're fun, they're chunky, and they look real. Looks like we're having a focusing problem. There we go. It's coming into focus. So very simple. It's not difficult. So grab some paint, grab a flat brush, and just sit at the table with some Xerox paper and just practice a few pumpkins, and you'll see that it's really not difficult to do. You could totally do it. And then once you've done that, you can throw it on a card. So let me explain really quickly how I made this card, since I'm not going to put it together for you. I just used some red cardstock. This is an A2 size card, so when it's folded it's 5.5 by 4 1/4. And then I layered on some brown cardstock, and I just went to my stash and pulled out some fall colored paper. So I had some, this is Stampin' Up! Paper. I had pumpkin pie and old olive and Riding Hood red, which I'm not sure if you can get Riding Hood red anymore, but cherry cobbler would be pretty too. And then I had some pattern paper that I picked up from Hobby Lobby by the sheet. This one was from Paper Studio, and I just love it because it had all these great little sentiments on it already. I felt like my card didn't need a sentiment. And so then to do the leaves, I used, where is it? This great little Lawn Fawn Cuts die. And I went ahead and just cut it out in the 3 different colors, the pumpkin pie, the old olive, and the Riding Hood red. And then I went ahead and sponged around all of my leaves with some vintage photo distress ink. And I sponged around pretty much everything. My card base, my layers, my pumpkins after I cut those out, you know, it just kind of feels like it pulled it all in together. And then to add just a little bit of shimmer, I just grabbed my Jelly Roll Stardust pen. And if you look really closely, you can see a little bit of a shimmer and a shine. And I didn't do that on every single leaf because I thought it would be too much. So I just picked a few select leaves and went ahead and added some Stardust pen to that. And it's kind of nice to use the pen once in a while because I'm not waiting for stickles to dry. I added a button on the top here, threaded several different kinds of twines. I had, if you remember my haul video, I showed this little bit from the Wicked paper pack stack for my mind's eye, and then I added some red twine in there too to kind of pull everything together. And the button, I actually didn't have a brown button, but I found one that was kind of a light color. And what you can do if you don't have the right color is, you know, just any alcohol-based marker. I happen to grab a La Plume, and what is this one? This one's 869, and I just colored on top of my button there, and the alcohol ink just dries really fast. And so wow, I had a brown button all of a sudden ready to go. So anyhow, a quick fall card just to show you how you can actually just paint a pumpkin really quickly. And what's really fun is you can try painting on fabric. If you pick up the Folk Art fabric paints, or you can grab the Folk Art enamel paints, which are great for glass, or just the acrylic ones that I showed today, and use it on wood or paper, and just have fun. So anyhow, break out the paint and give it a try. Try making a cute little pumpkin. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.